iPhone got full. My whole point, my understanding of the human condition, especially when it comes to legal stuff, especially when it comes to, and this is why I've conducted my life anyway. My parents brought me up this way, not to deliberately antagonize the law, unjudiciously, is that if you find yourself in a situation similar to what we went through, if you fight back, if you reciprocate in kind, if you attack them the way they're attacking you, then the judge is not going to find in your favor to get them out. Because now it's the Hatfields and the McCoys, and I use that exact example in the book. You do not want to be in a situation where doesn't matter who started it then. It doesn't matter who started it. They could be 100% wrong in starting the attacks on us. But if we attack back in kind, similar, we call them names, we call them, and we attack and we vandalize and we throw shit in their driveway and blah, blah, blah. The judge is not going to find in our favor at all. But also, I have to be able to sleep at night knowing what I'm doing is the correct way of solving this problem. And attacking back doesn't solve anything. And I said that to so many people through this because people saw what we were going through. Dave, why don't you fight back? Dude, I am fighting back. I'm fighting back the proper way to get them gone. Had we attacked back, had we reciprocated in kind to them what they were giving to us, they would still be here. Guaranteed they would still be here. There's not a judge on the planet. The lawyer would have laughed in our face. Oh, you guys are just as bad as they are. Or we'll both kicked out because the board wouldn't have put up with it. So, no. I am a responsible, and this is what I take seriously my entire life. Again, there's nuance to life. There's nuance to the world. But the bottom line is I am a responsible citizen to the community and the society I live in. Period. That's number one. Responsible community member to the community I live in. And my responsibility absolutely dictates that I do things the right way. I'm not going to get hot-headed. I heard from one of my favorite YouTube channels today. He had a video saying, the angrier you get, the more stupid you make your decisions. You make stupider decisions. The more angry you are, the stupider decisions you make, because your brain doesn't process in the same way when you're angry. And I also knew from the beginning that these people were not attacking us for who we were. They weren't. They would have attacked anybody in this house. Doesn't matter who it was. So they're not attacking us. They're just attacking the most convenient thing to attack. And my wrap up in the end of the book shows clearly, again, I'm not a psychologist, but I think this is the most clear thing. She was always looking for somebody to attack. When we weren't around, she attacked the other neighbors. When they weren't around, she attacked the lawyers. She called the lawyers. I heard some of the voicemails that she left out of the lawyer's office, and they were horrendously bad. Whoever she could lash out at. And when there's nobody left because she's gone from here, and the only person that was standing near her to attack was her husband. And so she attacked him. And then her kids. She left her kids. She left them. I mean, some of this book was that she was calling us bad parents. Some of it's like, okay, well, whatever. but so that was some of her attacks on us. Like, look at Josh. Look at him. You're calling us bad parents? Whatever. Like, yeah, you're just wrong. But again, you live in your own little world over there. And yet, when all is said and done, she went off with her boyfriend for her, I don't know how to say this without getting whatever, kids cover your ears, for her sexual gratification with her multiple people. She left her entire family. Her mom had a tirade on Facebook one time about how her daughter, crazy neighbor, left her kids, her mom, her husband, walked out on all of them. Okay, so 8 years of attacking us for bad parents, bad neighbors, bad whatever, the other people bad. It's everybody else's fault. How many times have we met this in our lives? It's always everybody else's fault. Like, I can't even use the word Karen, because first, I don't like using the word Karen, because I have Karens as friends, and they're the most adorable people in the world. But if you want to use that euphemism, which I don't want to, this wasn't even that. This was so far outside of right field. It was so far beyond the baseball pitch. It was so far beyond the stadium of anything that was remotely understandable or acceptable, or I don't even know how. I don't even know what world this would be fit into. Like the sheer audacity of her, the way she conducted her affairs, and I use that on multiple levels. The way she conducted her affairs through this entire ordeal. As I said, she opened her mouth in court. And this is my other point that I pointed out. Because people say, you have to handle this better. You have to, be confrontational. She was in court, and the court couldn't shut her up. She was in front of a judge, and the judge couldn't shut her up. Who am I? Who is Sandy? Who is anybody else in this entire thing that would have any kind of authority over making her be better? If she can't be better in the court, $75, $7,500, boom, because she opened her mouth and talked for 30 seconds in court and said something. She couldn't keep her mouth shut there. She couldn't keep her mouth shut in arbitration. Like our lawyers asking me questions, asking Sandy questions, asking the other people questions, and she couldn't keep her mouth shut. The lawyer, the arbitrator had to continuously stop the arbitration process to tell her to be quiet, to stop saying racist things, to stop being confrontational, or else one more outburst like that, and it's Amber Heard, like worse than Amber Heard. One more the guy who drove through the parade, which I was glued to the TV on, had to stop the proceedings and tell her that she had to stop her commenting, her running commentary, or else he would have her removed. It was literally astounding. And this is 101 stuff, the easiest stuff in the entire universe to understand. A person with almost zero experience with courts and judges and whatever would know enough, would have enough sense of keeping yourself out of making your problems more difficult, keeping yourself out of that kind of stuff, to know enough to keep your mouth shut when you're not supposed to talk in court, in arbitration. And then she has the gall, gall to start yipping the day the judge gave you're out of the house now, so you got 30 days. And I walk up the driveway, and she starts laying into me, and I blinders into the house. Because what else? What seriously else? It wasn't about me. It was never about me. It was never about Sandy. It was never about our dog. It was never about Joshua. It was never about the neighbors on the other side. It was never about anything else other than her attacking literally everybody else that she could. Whoever was a mark, whoever was in her radar was going to be attacked. She attacked the school because her kids had some problems at the school. She attacked the school. The school was wrong. She attacked literally the bylaw guys who showed up. Like I had to call bylaw at 3:00 in the morning because they're pounding around next door, and we're trying to get Joshua with 3 or 4, maybe even sometimes 2, to bed. And the sounds coming through. Unfortunately, these places were built in 1974, so they're not well insulated. But overall, the neighbors understand that and keep quiet, and so they're just trouncing around and jumping around like a bunch of wild hyenas. And call bylaw. He doesn't show up until 3:00 in the morning. Fine. They're still going at it. I bring him in the house. This is what we're hearing through the wall. He goes, knocks on the door. She slams the door in his face. Like, this guy with a badge, like, slams the door in his face. He goes, keep it down. I have every right. I have every right. My kids are rambunctious. It's 3 in the morning. You have neighbors. Have the tiniest bit of consideration. And I can guarantee with all the money in my pocket against all the money in your pocket, that had we made any noise when she was trying to sleep, she would rain the fires of hell on our heads. She would call everybody, every jurisdiction, every person she possibly could, and have them come raining on our parade. She would absolutely do that. Should we cross her once? But we never did. We never ever did. Anyway, so I'm not telling you to buy this book. and I had a copy editor at one point, a good friend of mine who copy edited, but that was really early in the process. And then I completely rewrote the entire book. So all the spelling slips and grammatical gaffes and whatever else you find in here that says a newbie, a bad author wrote this book, 100% on me. Nothing to do with the copy editor. So, but I will also say, as we're far into this, again, far too many things to talk about. I personally enjoy this book because it is a, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to put it. It's a look at a situation that hopefully 90%, as far as I understand, 95% of the people on this planet will never ever experience, but know that everything besides names and places is 100% accurate from my point of view in this book. And again, I changed all the names in here to save myself any kind of litigiousness response from anybody. There's absolutely nobody in this book that has a name of a real person. I changed everybody's name, including neighbors and lawyers, and but the events in this book, 100% from my head. Up until the point that there's a chapter and it says, by the way, this is when I started writing this book, and everything going forward, I wrote as it happened. And that's when I would say I started really, really going into a lot of minutiae and a lot of detail, especially on the night that I call it the, I forget what the chapter is now. It's actually, let me just find it because it was something else. The day everything changed. It's a title in this book. It's a chapter in this book. And that day, I wrote the night that it happened, and everything after that I wrote when it happened. He had an alleged heart attack because allegedly we attacked his daughter, allegedly on our driveway when we were camping. And when we came home from camping, we allegedly attacked his daughter. We said some very, very bad things about his daughter, allegedly. And so the police came to us later that day and said, "You've been attacking the neighbors." No, we haven't. But beyond that, later in the night, the ambulance shows up and to take him away because he's allegedly having a heart attack from all the stress that we're causing him. And okay, but to make the point, we can't, and because we have a security camera that watches all of our houses. And so the time that allegedly we attacked his daughter couldn't have happened because we pulled in and she told us to shut the F up. And I told her that she can't talk to us that way. I mean, as much as I engaged with her, but I don't need to hear that. And then she went stomping in the house, and then she went to the park. And then, but the neighbor said to the police that we had this whole conversation with her and calling her all these bad names and whore and all this stuff. She's 13 or whatever else she was, and how bad she is. And I'm going, here's the security camera. Here's us pulling stuff from our camping trip into the house. Here's the daughter outside walking to the park. Now, how could I have compressed all those words into that time frame when she just walks to the park? But then, yeah, so the ambulance shows up, takes him away for an alleged heart attack, and the crazy lady comes scooting home from wherever she was with her, maybe her sexual escapades, And when she comes home, again, we have a video camera. She comes home, she parks on the road right behind the ambulance. And the guys are trying to get the gurney out of the house next door, because we're hearing all this, right? we're here. It was really funny. That's all there was. Sorry. So they're trying to get the gurney out of the house. She's carrying in all these bags of high-end shopping spree paper bags with the little rope handles. She's carrying all these in, and she's pushing her way past the ambulance attendants, the paramedics, and to bring all these bags from her car. She's going back and forth to her car while they're trying to get her husband out to the ambulance. And while she's carrying all this stuff in, she is screaming at the top of her lungs about us, about how we're going to pay for this, how we're going to suffer for this, how we're going to suffer for attacking her husband and her daughter. How you haven't heard the end of me? Like, she's shaking her fist, like, and I'm going, what are you talking about? In this situation, and again, in this situation, your husband's allegedly having a heart attack. That's the only thing I'd be talking about right now. And husband, what do you need? What do the paramedics need? You're pushing the paramedics out of the way to bring in your shopping spree into the house. This is who we're dealing with, and screaming at us. We weren't even outside. Like, we could hear them because we're in the house. And there's a reason why. But I'm going, who are you? Like, what is this? Like, how daft, how out of touch with reality do you have to be to do this, to be this way? Because in all seriousness, like, I know that if anything's going on with Sandy, whatever it is, and wherever I am, I'm going to move heaven and earth to get to where she is and take care of her. I'm not going to worry about my shopping bags. I'm not going to worry about my neighbors. I'm not going to worry about the neighbor's dog. I'm not going to worry about literally anything else besides my wife. Whatever's going on, it could be like a hangnail. I don't care. Like, this is a heart attack, allegedly. He was back at work 2 days later. I'm not saying it was fake. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't see his health reports, but he was back at work 2 days later and back with the family. He came back from the hospital the next morning, and life went on. So I don't know if it was fake. I won't say. Again, I'm not making any judgments outside of what I understand. He could have been having an anxiety attack. He could have. I've had anxiety attacks before. But whatever. All I know is that it wasn't a heart attack, because you don't go back to work 2 days after you have a heart attack. That never happens. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. And again, I'm probably not going to upload it. I really keep on deleting these videos. Amazon.com. If anything you want to do to support this channel, again, I don't ask for subscriptions. I don't even ask you to buy this thing. But if you want something to read, and you want to support this channel, because I keep on saying don't support this channel with subscriptions and because I don't care. But some people are interested in this, so buy it if you want to buy it. It is, and honestly, let me know, because I get external feedback as to how the story flows, and I've always tried to get people to tell me, like, if there's something, because I wrote it and I lived it, but if there's something that was a little bit unclear about these situations or the story or whatever, something happened in there that didn't make sense, the paragraph didn't work with the previous paragraph or whatever, something came out of the blue that seems to come out of nothing, I tried to make this as clear and cogent and cohesive as possible from beginning to end. And that's all I'm going to say. Don't buy the book just to support this channel. Again, I make $3 on a book, like, seriously, and I've sold 10. So if you are interested in a nonfiction bad neighbor situation that progressed over 8 years, that you can see by the story and how it escalated and how we managed it, fine. If you find yourself in a similar situation, don't buy this to think that it's legal advice. I put it right in here. This is not legal advice. If you want legal advice, get a lawyer. If you want legal advice, talk to somebody who can get a lawyer. Whatever. We listened. Sandy and me, listened to the police first, because the police came to our house a lot. Who initially told us to start the incident report, which is what we did. Which came in very, very handy at the end through the whole thing for arbitration and they eventually kick out. So we listened to the police. We listened to the police when they said, this is how you set up your security cameras. We had our house vetted. We had to have somebody from the police force come and verify how secure our house was, how the lighting was, where the security cameras were placed. So it was 100% legitimate. We did not fly by the seat of our pants. We did not, oh, this is good enough. No. We called the right people. We listened to the right people. That's my best advice, is to talk to the right people. And I'm not it. And this isn't it. Talk to the police, and then we talked to the lawyer when the lawyer got involved in 2015. Then we talked to the property manager, who's had some other dealings before with other bad neighbors. And then we made a community. We talked to other people in the community. We got all together and we talked about our issue. And then I went down to the courts, because you can drive down. It's John Spicchino Court in Hamilton. You can drive down there and you can talk to the justice of the peace. It's free. You can talk to them. You can make an appointment, talk to a justice of the peace. This is what we're going through, because it's where you make a peace bond, which I also covered in here, by the way. Peace bond. So you can talk to justice of the peace and see what they have to say. These guys are the ones that are dealing with this stuff all the time. I don't deal with this stuff, and I said this in this book. And I'm not a lawyer. I don't need to be a lawyer. I don't have any training to be a lawyer. But I'm going to listen to the lawyer. I'm going to listen not just one lawyer. I'm going to listen to a bunch of lawyers. I'm going to listen to other people, justice of the peace. And if they're all saying basically the same thing, then that's the direction I'm going to walk in. So anyway, once again, went on far too long. I keep on trying to see if I can get this in 20 minutes, and it's been over an hour. So that's it. That's all. I'm going to bed. You guys all stay safe. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.